Sure. I will share my screen right now. Uh, yeah. Sorry. You're got to there, Dennis. Yep. Thank you so much for the introductions, Dennis and Russ. Also, I don't know how to react. Actually, I think what I did with the blog and everything else is just like uh, how I actually progressing in my life, how I learned the things that I learned from my works, my curiosity and everything else. But yeah, I mean, the blog is actually the purpose of the blog is not for everyone. It's actually just for myself. And yeah, uh, we need to always study, right? Especially in the power platform industry where the changes it's so big, and we all also got hit by the low code technologies. We as a pro developer must be much more smarter than that to actually can make silos, I think, between the citizen developer and the pro developer as well. We need to make the transitions much more smoother in that sense. So that's why that's the curiosity that I always have. So yeah, I think I will start my presentations right now. So today, I guess I will uh, present the environment variables, custom API, and Azure applications insights. All of this is like kind of new features in Dataverse or Dynamic CRM. Uh, then I just go to the next one. My name is Temi Wahyu Raharjo. I am a technical consultant in CRM. I got my MVP business applications, I think, in 2020, September. That one is all thanks to Dennis, also, Russ, everyone. I cannot say it one by one, but I guess especially like Dennis with the Power platform, he always like helps me to motivate me to do the blog things. So thank you for that. I don't think like I'm a superstar as well. Compared to Dennis, it's very different. He's in the maybe in the sky. I'm still in the earth. I don't know how to say regarding that one. So currently I'm in the Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia. I am a blogger also. I try to be active, uh, posting blog posts once per week regarding with the Power Platform technologies. This is my Twitter account, Temi_Raharjo. My blog post I also already put in the chat. So if everyone want to see my blog, you can see in there. Then this is my LinkedIn. So today's agenda, we will talk about three things, three features. One is environment variables. The second one is Azure Applications Insight. It's more, I'm not gonna talk related, I mean like the whole fully Azure Applications Insight, because we actually, the things that I want to present today is more into like developer stuff. So I just like put it in the telemetry side, how we can use in the plugin and how to enable it basically. Then the last one is we will talking about Dataverse custom API, which is I think is the best thing happens also because it makes us more dynamics in creating customizations. And also with the Dataverse custom API, we also can call it using the Power Automate on or everything else. Then the last part, we will do some demonstrations. I already prepare a project, plugin project actually, that I can share with you guys. So the first one is environment variables. Last time, I still remember we always have scenarios where we need to actually save, store the configurations. And then in the plugin or maybe in the JavaScript, maybe we need to retrieve that data to actually maybe uh, checking if, let's say, this data exists, then we need to do what? Some like condition checking or something like that. So in the past, usually we will creating new tables, entities for that configurations only. But the problems, like when we using entity, The problem is how we transport it to another environment. Let's say we already develop in the dev. If let's say we want to put it in the UAT or productions, then usually it's kind of hard. I mean, it's not like hard something like that, but usually, yeah, we need to create the configurations by ourselves, which is manual. But with the environment variables, we have ability to actually transport the data, the environment variables in this case, from the dev to other environment easily. And it is officials from Dataverse feature. Then after that, it's also support a lot of data type. But the things that I most like about the environment variables is actually it support JSON, because nowadays with the dependent assemblies feature, and also with the, I mean, if we're using the dependent assemblies, we can use the newtons of JSON, right? That's much more easier for us to actually reading the data, JSON data, and suite it to what we need in our dev. So if we using JSON, it's actually much more simple and much more easier to use for us. That's why I like to use the environment variable using the JSON things in that one. So I think I will go to open this one. Sorry, let me check for a while. Yep. So in here, actually, I already prepare the environment variables that I want to use. So in here, as you can see, when we create the environment variables, so in the solutions itself, I already prepared the solutions. In here, we can just like new, then we go to here. There's an environment variable over there. We can put whatever the name it is, descriptions, the data type, we can choose whatever that we like. There's a decimal, there's a text, Boolean, data source secret, and also the JSON. This is the things that I like. The one that I told you earlier, we can use JSON. But for this one, I will not create it. I just open my existing one. So in here, there's two values actually. One is the default value, then the other one is current value. But if we are using the old UI, we can go to the advanced settings. Sorry, I think I have in here. Now, as a developer, usually what I need to do when the new features coming in is actually I need to observe. So if we go to here and then we go to the environment variables, we have two tables actually. One is environment variable definitions, and the other one is environment variable values. So if I go to here, environment variables definitions, and this is the one that I create in here, same with this one. So I will click this one. And then from here, as you can see, actually, this is like parent and child relationship. The environment variable definition is the header, while if you can see in the bottom, this one, actually the environment variables values is the child of it. If you can see, this one seems like we can have multiple data. But what happened is, let's say, sorry, I need to copy this data for a while. And then let's say I change this one. Yeah. Let's say I change the data in here, round digit become 2, let's say, and then copy. And then let's say I create new. Sorry. I create new and then I save. By default, it will not creating two values in there. It will replacing the existing one, meaning that from the the feature from the Dataverse itself, it's actually already forbid us to create multiple data. So this is the things that, I mean, as a developer, I need to observe the behavior of the feature that we want to use, so we able to understand much more, and then we can avoid those things that we don't want to happen. Let's say we implement this feature. So this is the things that I think my findings so far. So meaning that the current values only able to be one. So whenever we create new one, it will not become two. It only will become one only. It will preserve the latest data. So I think that's my finding with the environment variables. Keep in mind for this one, later when demonstrations, I will show you the code and everything else. The next one is actually about the Azure applications inside telemetry and plugin. Now we can write telemetry data to Azure applications inside from the plugin. So when you are using the plugin code, we actually can use the service provider, get the service type e-logger. Then we actually can write everything, write informations from the plugin to the Azure applications inside directly. So what is Azure Application Insight? Azure Application Insight is actually centralized informations where you can get tons of informations regarding performance, error, and etc. I think I used this reference from the Alan De Castro. It's very interesting what he's writing there. So I just know also actually we need to use this one, data export preview, and then put all the informations that we need in there. Then basically, this is the Azure Applications Insight. So we can check the performance from the API. This is the things, let's say we want to figure out if there's a slowness or something. Lots of informations that we can get from that one. But actually for the demonstrations today, I just will use in the trace this one. So I already prepared the applications inside in here. We need to know when we create that one, when we create the applications inside, automatically we have the instrumentation keys. Because, I mean, my environment don't have access to the account don't have access to Azure portal. And I have another account in the Azure that actually have balance. So what I need to do is actually I'm using this one. Yeah, this is the things to enable the applications inside in my environment that I want to use. So basically what I need to do is I have connection strings. I will not showing the string there, but basically that's the connection string to the CRM environment that I want to use. Then after that, I will retrieve the organization's informations in here. And then after that, update these two properties. The telemetry instrumentation key, this one I take from the applications inside from here, this one. I think I already put a blog post regarding this one also, then you can see from there. Then what happens is we just need to update this one, and then actually that's finished for the setup. Yeah. So I think that's for the Azure applications inside telemetry in the plugin. Then the last part, which very exciting, is regarding the custom API. So if it's actually same with the plugin when we create plugin developments, but this one custom API can be not to bound to a specific entity. So basically, where if we have something that maybe we need to reuse everywhere, let's say like update update money, or maybe whatever you want. Actually, let's say create order, which also include order details on everything else. We actually can use the custom API to set up the custom API. There's a API definitions. Then we need to set up the input parameters, and then output parameters is optional, but you can also set that one. So my recommendations is actually the one that I always use is the SRM toolbox. I use these two plugins. From one is Custom API Manager by David Rivard, and the second one is Custom API Tester by Jonas Rapp. So this is the two tools that I always use until I don't know how to create custom API from the Dataverse itself. So I will just open the SRM toolbox in here. So this is the how we create the API. So we just need to click this one. Let's say, for example, I click new one. Yeah. So this is the necessary things. Usually what I will put is, this is like the name, whatever. Then if you already have the plugins, then you can set that one. Then usually all these things I will not change. This one I also usually will not put this one. Yeah, so basically that's how we create the custom API, the custom API definitions. Then the second one is you need to put the parameters if for sure you need that one. So in here, actually, I used the name is input, the type is string. Why string is also because I like it to be dynamics in that sense. So usually I will pass like JSON format to that one, to the API. So whenever there's a changes, it's more dynamics. But it's also this is like architecture strategy and also architecture decisions. So if you are putting it as very dynamics, it also possible to yeah, got problems also. So there is no like the best practice. I mean like the perfect situations for every architecture decisions in my opinions. But yeah, this is the things that I always use. And then the output also string with the same uh, reason also. I want it to be dynamics as much as possible, because let's say we have update or something, we don't need to worry about the changes, because I mean the metadata in the Dataverse itself, because the output and input is already dynamics. That's the things that I always use. Then this is the custom API tester. This is very nice, whereby David Rivard actually have this button where we actually can test it directly. So for this one, I think I will demonstrate first the result. Sorry. Wait a minute. I will open this one. Yeah. So this is the input that I need. I copy from my unit test like this. I will just put like Dataverse submit one, something like this, probably. Discount 100, quantity 2, price per unit 200. So if I execute this one, yeah, automatically we have this return, which is actually the ID and the logical name of the entity that I created. I will go to uh, the demonstration, I mean the code soon, but this is the things that I want to show you. Then in here, I actually already have, sorry, so many things. Yep, I will copy this one again, open this. Yeah. So this is the data that I just created from the custom API tester, that one. So this is the data first submit one, then this is the discount, price per unit. Oh, so this is got 200. price per unit 200, 400. Yes, correct. So this is 300, correct. So now we go to the project itself. So basically, I created this one, the project called the demo plugin. Uh, this one I'm using the PAC Power Platform CLI tools. So I just PAC plugin in it, and then automatically it will create the project and the necessary like the key and everything else. But for this one, I actually little bit changed. So the plugin base, there's a plugin base in here that automatically generated. That's the things that I also updated little bit. But let's focus on the model first that I created for these demonstrations. So this is the feature. We can say this is Poco class. Plain old CLR object is actually like just a class that referring to our definitions. So in here, actually, I have properties isLog. IsLog, if it's true, then it will enable the logging feature that we want to use. Then I have these two also. One is Azure Applications Insight, and the bottom one is plugin trace log. So if this one, the is Azure Applications Insight is true, then we and all isLog is also true, then it will send the trace log to the Azure Applications Insight. Same with this one is plugin trace log. If this is plugin trace log is true, then we will store the data in our this one plugin. So as you can see, we have plugin trace log this in here. I know actually this one also have another setup. So basically, I will show you first my setup for this environment. So you can see that actually I enable the plugin trace log and then put everything in there. Wait, yeah. Yep. So actually in here, enable logging to plugin trace log, I put all in here. But on top of that, the scenarios that I want to show is actually how we can also make like interceptions in our plugin in our project. So if this one is false, then even though this one is all, we are not putting anything. I mean, if error, we sure got something in there. But I mean, let's say we in our plugin we use a trace or something, it will not store in that in the this one in the plugin trace log data. Then the second one, I will also show you scenarios where we actually will rounding the calculations. I think I go to this one for a while. So for all those three features, actually what I want to implement is actually this one. So we will use on and off tracing to plug in trace logs or Azure Applications Insight. And the second one, we will have a rounding logic. The rounding logic is actually like if we put the setup in here, let's say rounding digit 2, then we have this rounding strategy. This enum is actually standard Dataverse. So there's a away from 0 and to even. But in here, as you can see, this is like it JSON. So I store the data, as you can see in here. This is the string that I want to pass to here, meaning that if this one is to event, then the enumerations that will be used is the to event. If let's say I change this one to away from 0, then it will become away from 0. So the whole logic for serialize this one is in the Newton soft. So I don't need to think about everything else. So in here, as you can see, because we also in the Dataverse, there's a dependent assemblies feature where we actually can use third-party library without needs to merge merge, I will use that one as well in here. So in here, I will show you about custom API and also dependent assemblies. So for this one, because I creating new project, when I import, actually I will get error. But after that, I just realized that we need to put this one. So whenever we, let's say we create separate project for the business or everything else, what you need to do is actually right click in here, properties. Then after that, reference output assembly, you need to put it as yes. Then the other things that I put is actually I generate the key SNK in here. So let's focus on the plugin base first. So what's I'm gonna achieve with this is actually I want, because we are implementing feature flags, I want whenever we are doing anything, let's say uh, the trace log this one, I want it to be implement this one. And the code needs to read the feature in here. To, let's say when we are in here, automatically when we are calling execute, like in local plugin context trace, this one needs to know if it's able to store the data, store the informations, the trace logs, this one, to plugin trace logs or Azure applications inside. So what I create is in here, this is from the when we generating the plugin using Power Platform CLI, it automatically have the local plugin context. And then in here, if you can see in here, we also have local tracing service. This one I changed a bit. So what I need to do is in the local plugin context, this one, I need to read the data of the get feature, this one. So what it needs to do is actually retrieve data from the CRM like usual. This one I create the extensions. Actually, I will read this data, the feature flag, as you can see in the definitions there. Sorry, where is it? Yep, this one, the feature flag. That's why I retrieve that one. I'm based on the name, the schema name, this one, to read that one. Then if let's say now there is nothing, then we need to return new feature, the default feature, the model class that we are creating. So this is the things that the logic that I put. Let's say because I will in here, I will retrieve two tables. I link the first one is the variable definitions. So this is I think I creating the entities, this one using the Albanian entities generator. The one that I like with the Albanian entities generator also because it also helps us to actually, sorry. Yeah, this one. So we have the fields properties where actually we'll return the properties that we need. So it looks clean for in my eyes. So I like to use this one. There's a schema name and everything else. So this is the logic to retrieve the data. Yeah. So if the data exists, I mean, if the alias value exists, then we will use the alias value. But if there is nothing to be found in the alias value, then I use the default value to as the data. Then if the data empty, we just return the default feature. But if not, then we will use the Newton soft JSON to actually deserialize the object for this matter. Now, the things that I like when I'm creating project like this one, I need to create the unit test. So as you can see, actually in here, I create a lot of unit tests. It's become like addictive to seeing green things actually. So this is the whole things that I create, the unit test that I create for this project. So all the things is passed. Actually, I want to show you this one, the unit task project. This one, I'm using the Fact SRM Easy, the version number 2, because we are using the plugin. I also like to use the and substitute to test the things that I want to use. Yeah, because and substitute is actually mocking library, so it's more convenience for me to use the and substitute. Then for the unit testing stuff, I'm using the XUnit for that one. So as you can see here, let's yeah. Yeah. So basically, if you can see in here, there's a lot of stuff. I'm creating business space. I'm creating the rounding logic stuff, the feature stuff, local tracing. Let me see local tracing. Now, local tracing test I also create for this one. So as you can see in here, there's a lot of mocking stuff that I create. I'm using and substitute that one to create all the things. Then I will test this one. So the unit test, because the reasons we need to use the unit test is actually get the feedback as early as possible. So when I create the local plugin context, I'm just testing this one, this feature. Let's say it's log false, false, false. I don't want to the plugin when I put local plugin context trace, I don't want to these two objects being called. That's why I can verify if that's okay or not. Same with the if let's say we are put the feature as on. I mean the is log true, is Azure applications inside true, is plugin trace log is true. When I click trace, local plugin context trace, I want it to be have call. So if this one okay, meaning that actually suppose my code working as it's supposed to be. So this is the task that I create. Then let's go to this one again. So for this one, environment for, so yeah, sorry. This one is plugin trace log is false, Azure applications is true. So let's say I'm calling this one again one more time to testing it. Then we go to the Azure applications inside. I hope that it also already have the data that I call. Sorry, this is the logs. So this is the trace. I put the range as last hour. Yeah, as you can see here, I think we already have data in there. So sorry, I'm not yet telling you this one, the demo API. So this is the custom API that I created. Like usual, this is the plugin base. So the plugin, because this is inherit the plugin base, whenever we are in, this is the business class. The first one is actually I put this one, hello world from custom API. So as you can see in here, there's a hello world from custom API, this one. It's come from this one. Now, because when we are put the trace in here, it will, if we go to local plugin, yeah, this one, local tracing context. So when we are creating, calling the local tracing service, this one, automatically, because I pass the feature in this one, I will create this, I will set the variables underscore tracing service and underscore logger based on this one. So if it is log and is plugin trace log is true, then I will retrieve the data. But if not, I will pass null for that one, same with the logger. So whenever we call trace, what will happen is if this one not null, we only call trace. Same with the logger, this one. So because the implementations is actually is one door, so it will be correct. I mean, it will be like what we intended the code to do. So whenever we are calling trace this one, if the feature is, yeah, Azure applications inside is false, then it will not logging anything to the Azure applications inside. Its plugin trace log is true and its log is true, then it will correctly writing the trace log to our Dataverse. This is the things that I want. That's why when we are passing the local plugin context this one, and then the business class only use this one, then it makes the feature works like what we are intended to do. Then the second one I want to show you related. Yeah, so this is the custom API. So what how it works is actually this is the input parameter. So whenever we are calling this one, we put values this one. This is the parameters that we want to pass, the JSON value. So it will be stored in the input parameters. Because we are sure the input parameters is mandatory, I just directly put the serialized object in here. But if it's null, then I will throw error in that matter. Then this demo custom API is actually pretty simple. I just want to create calculations in there. So as you can see, I put several properties in here. There's a name, there's a discount, quantity, price per unit. Then whenever it's okay, I just need to create using the EE organization service and then pass to this one. So if this one okay, we got the ID and also the logical name. I want to pass it for the output. So that's why in the definitions, in the custom API definitions, I have the parameter output as a string, this one. So this is the output parameters that I put. So this is the object that I pass as the result of that one. So when we are executing this one, automatically the output come out as this one, this object. Nah, but we are not stopping until that one. We still have lots of times for that. So I also will explain it with the rounding logic. So what happens is actually for the rounding logic, I will tell you my setting first regarding with the my currency and everything else. So because I want to make rounding logic by myself, I think I will show you first the logic for the rounding logic. So what will happen is actually we will implement this one. Numbers length is not equal with 2. Yeah. So the rounding logic is actually we want to use these calculations where the values in here, then we put the rounding digits that we want based on the feature that we are implementing, then the rounding strategy. So basically, this is what we want to uh, do in our project for that one. Let me open this one for a while. Yeah. I have this one. So for the rounding logic itself, actually there's a problems that we need to understand. The first one is, let's say we implement the rounding logic. The existing data probably is not rounded yet. So we need to actually intercept the read operations for that one. Then let's say whenever we do service update or create, we also need to recalculate again the money, the money that we want to update. And then let's say we have plugins that are running on the update or creates. We also need to intercept if there's a changes in the money related things. So this is the things that we need to have in our mind. So actually I'm creating this one extensions where it retrieve the entity that will be updated. So in here, if the type is money, then it will read the feature that we will pass also. Then in here, like logic, there's a logic that I implement. So let's say the behind zero, that one is not the rounding digit that we want. Then we need to recalculate again. So this is the whole things that in place, the logic. Then what needs to be checked is actually, yeah, wait. Now, because we have those three things that we need to keep in our mind, so that's why I'm creating another wrapper. My friends actually told me this is decorator pattern, whereby actually we create the e-organization service implementations, but actually we require the assisting service, e-organization service itself. So in here, I create these two. I need to have these two property. One is the service, one is the feature itself. So what happens is in here, like this is the interceptions that I did. So let's say there's a create. I need the entity to be sanitized first. Same with the retrieve. When we are retrieving, we need to sanitize the money things. When update, we also need to do the same. Delete, because we not required to do anything, so we just do like the usual stuff. Execute for these demonstrations. I also not intercept anything. Associate, yes, associate, also not. When the retrieve multiple, when we are retrieving data, we also need to sanitize. That's why this is the things that we need to put in place. But the problem is, let's say we are not implementing in one door, then it will be problems. Let's say we have scenarios whereby we want to implement the rounding service, rounding mechanism. So what needs to be done is actually on the local plugin, in this one, local plugin context, I'm implementing the one door solutions. So whenever we are creating a user service, initiating user service, admin service, we need to implement this one. So all the magic is actually happens in the local plugin context. With these things already set up, when in our plugins, let's say, in the plugins, this is the business class that I created. So whenever I create this one, I don't need to manually calculate the rounding for this one. I just need to set this one. Then, because I already put that one in the plugin again, I just need to call the extensions. But let's say we want to create, let's say I update in here. I will add something in here. Let's say this data I also updated again. For example, update calculations. Let's say I'm using this one. Then I put the discount, this one as new money, something like this. For example, I create like this. This is need to be got M in behind. So yeah, something like this. Then local plugins context. Context dot plugin execution context. Initiating user. Let's say I create like this, update calculations. What will happen is when we are doing this one, it will be intercept in the rounding surface this one, because we are actually like using one door to do this one. So automatically the entity that we want to update will call the sanitize money, and then automatically it will be updated like the rounding logic that we want to use. Yeah, that's the. So again, if we are go back to this one, sorry, what actually I showing you guys is actually this one. So this is the plugin base. We have the e-service provider in place from the Dataverse code. Then what happens is we have local plugin context in here. In the local plugin context, whenever we create local plugin context, automatically we will retrieve the feature environment variables there. Then we also have e-tracing service that will use to create instance of local tracing service. So in the local tracing service, it will automatically read the feature in here. If the plugin trace log is necessary to be used, then we create the instance of plugin, the e-tracing service. If let's say the feature for the Azure applications inside is on, then we will create the instance for Azure applications inside the e-logger, that one. So this is the how we actually implement the scenarios as easy and as the effort is very minimum, is like this. We need actually to use one door only. Same with the rounding service. Let's say in the e-organization service, that one we have create, update, delete. We need to read from the feature if there's necessary rounding logic that needs to be implemented, and then when we are using, let's say, pre-operations, something like this, we just need to call this rounding, the extensions, this one. Yeah, I guess like that one. Let's go to the demonstrations again. For example, I'm putting this one, price per unit. Maybe I put different stuff. Oh yeah, because the Dataverse actually also have precisions, decimal precisions in place for these demonstrations. Actually, I'm changing also for my environment. So in here, there's a two place that we need to update. So in here, the currency precisions, I changed to 5 for this one. Then from the administrations, I guess, wait there. Is that in this one or not? Let me check. So that's why, that's the reason when I'm creating this one, you can see there's a lot of decimal precisions behind. Is because I changed the currency precisions in here. Let me see in the calculations, this one. Yeah, as you can see, there's a lot of the decimal digit in behind this one. Let's say I creating new one. This one, execute. It's created already. Nah, as you can see, because our feature flags that one, we put it as 2, if not mistake. Let me double check this one. Yeah, we put it as 2. That's why it becomes 2. Sorry, it becomes 2. Yeah, it becomes 2 for the Dataverse Summit 3. This one. So let's say we change again. Become, let's say, 1. Something like this. Sorry. let's say I change to 1 for the samples, and then I changed 4. Yeah, as you can see, the data changed automatically in here. Same with actually with the plugin trace log. Sorry, the trace log something. I think this is true already. So if we can see, sorry, I use this one. Plugin trace logs. Wait. Yeah, 50. Yeah, we have this one, these two data. So I delete again to showing you guys one more time if I'm adding 5. Then, yeah, automatically it will create it, the log. If we put this one as false, one more time again, then we are updating the feature flag. And then we click save again. Change this one, execute. It will not adding anymore. So this is the previous one. So the feature flags is actually working like the things that I want it to run. Yeah. So yeah, that's the demonstrations that I put. So basically everything is under on the local plugin context. All the necessary setup is actually because it's only one door. So we actually can easily yeah implement the scenarios that I prepare. Those two scenarios where actually we have on and off tracing to trace log or the application inside, and also the rounding logic that I want to show you guys there. So I think this is the summary for me. Simplicity is the ultimate sophistications by Leonardo da Vinci. Then for those things also, I think unit test is improve your confidence and also makes the feedback cycle as short as possible. So let's say I got changes in the logic. For example, I'm changing. Sorry, let's say in here accidentally. Sorry, where is it? In the local plugin context, this one. Let's say accidentally I put it now, something like that. Then if we are running it again, it's supposed to get a lot of errors. Oh, what's that? Oh, sorry. This is I accidentally write this one, is it? Yeah. Oop. Yeah, sorry. This is no needs to be edited. Yeah, just like that. Let's say I running again. Yeah, as you can see, there's a lot of errors in here. So the purpose of the unit testing is actually, yeah, let's say it's actually makes the feedback cycle as short as possible. Then I think the third that I want to share is actually dry concept. Don't repeat yourself. So for the trace logs things, we don't need to create. Usually, what I see as a Dataverse developers, we like to be copy paste developers. So usually we just copy the, let's say the logic in the sorry, in the this one, copy paste, copy paste, copy paste in every class, something like that. So what happens is let's say there's another changes that we need to be done. We also got problems because there's a lot of things that we need to change. So this is the summary that I want to share to you guys. Is there any questions?
There is one question from Kokulan. Is this demo going to be on your GitHub repo somewhere?
Oh, yeah. Actually, I want to, if you guys want to see this one, just I think DM me, PM me or something via LinkedIn or everything else. I will share the GitHub repo to you guys. The purpose is actually why I'm not putting it as public is because like I don't see feedback actually, Dennis. Yeah, that's why I put it as a private. So that's why if you guys want to see the whole code, you just need to I will give you the GitHub repo, the projects that one the access.
Yeah. Okay. And then let me see. So another question from Kokulan was you used a tool to generate the
Mhm.
tables and the column names.
Yep.
Can you share the link for that tool?
Oh, sure. That one is Albanian SRM. Sorry, the entities generator. I see there's my senior also, Jordi Montana. Wait, yeah, I will share the Albanian entity generator.
Okay. Any other questions from anyone else? Thanks, Andrew, for posting the link.
Yeah, Andrew already helps me to put.
Okay. I don't see. So there was another comment, not a question, from hard to pronounce the name. Sorry, but he said that feature class that you provided could also be created as a base abstract class, and then you can have it extended with rounding features and all the other stuff. So that's another idea, right? To have that as a base abstract class and do overrides. Yeah. So again, I mean, so my comment was like, you can do multiple ways because it's all .NET. So you can, you can use polymorphism, you can use abstractions and whatnot. But the idea that Temi provided here was like, do not repeat yourself, first of all, right? Make sure that most of the functions are either extended or part of your context or part of your base classes. Logging especially, right? You don't want to make sure that every developer does not need to write logging in the like write the entire thing in the plugins, right? There are a lot of stuff. Again, Jonas has a good example. It's been there for like a couple of years now. Canary Tracer that he has built does an excellent job of tracing everything in either in application insights or either in plugin trace log. But the feature flag that Demi provided was another idea. Is like you can control the different environments. Like if you don't want to log applications insights in your dev environment, but only do it in production, or trace log, for example, you don't want to, because trace log also uses the space on the Dataverse, right? So if you're going to trace everything, then it's going to use the space of Dataverse. And if you want to save that space, then you can prevent logging in dev, but then only log in production, things like that. So that can be controlled through features. So very excellent idea, Tammy.
Yeah,
Thanks for providing that concept. Uh, any other questions?
I
Cool.
think just one things, Dennis. I think we are as a I mean, Dataverse developers always afraid to do coding stuff. Yeah, heavy coding stuff. Yeah, that's why I think Jordi also agree with me regarding that one. Yeah, that's why we need to become pro developers. That's the other.
Yeah. Yep.
Yep.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, that's the thing, right? I mean, now new developers are coming in. We don't want to spend time doing code reviews. We don't want to like, there should be code reviews, but then minimalistic time should be spent in code reviews, because that's waste of time. Like, instead of that, if we put a lot of things, repeated things in the context or in extended methods or in abstract classes or somewhere where it could be really reused, right? Those things should be done. That's good practice. Now, again, as you call out, to not repeat yourself, unit test is very important. And the other thing that I want to call out is like unit testing the plugin context and the plugin base. I have not done, and I'm very guilty about that. So thanks for reminding us all of that. That always write unit test cases even for your plugin context and plugin base classes. So thank you, Tammy, for a great presentation. And yeah, you're on mute, by the way.
Thank you. Thank you, guys. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. So the next person